tracks today.
Yeah. I need them bands, run it up fast, stuffing them shits in the safe. Got me a spot out the way, nigga just tryna be safe. Leaving the house with the glizzy, nigga.
Let's get to the sports talk.
I'll give you that. It's hard for big guys to work out like that, man. Ain't a big man, got that bad toe. Plus, you rapping all the time.
Moving on to the Saints. All right, Brian Westbrook, last time we Googled, Drew Brees is 40 years old, most likely nearing the end of his career. There'd be no better swan song than winning his second Lombardi trophy. And according to our friends at Fox Bet, he should have a shot, with New Orleans currently listed as the favorite to win the NFC ahead of the Rams and Eagles. This is a stacked conference, Brian. Who do you think wins the NFC?
You know, I like this Saints pick. And I like it for a couple of different reasons. I love their big three. Obviously, Breeze, Hall of Famer, Mike Thomas, all the money in the world, and Alvin Kamara. I love that big three. They can get it done. I love the acquisition of Jared Cook in the offseason. To me, that offense is unstoppable. Their defense actually faded a little bit towards the end of the season. The problem that I have with the Saints, and this is the one little small caveat that I have, is that they're in a very tough division. That division, they're going to get beat up playing 2 games against the Panthers and the Falcons and the Bucks, who are not very good, but they're going to get beat up just a bit. That's my concern about the Saints. To me, I think they will end up winning, but
yeah, they can come out and win that division. You know, it's going to be a tough little road, though, to win it, but they have a quarterback could get the job done. That's why they could come out and win it. Because Drew Brees and them got robbed of a chance to go to the Super Bowl last season. That's why they say they can come out. Because this year is going to be a different year. Like, as long as they got Drew Brees running the offense, they can make runs to the Super Bowl. Because they got a good offense, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thompson. That they got a good team to get it done. They still got the same people from last season. Cause they could get the job done this year. After getting robbed from last season by the Rams, they didn't get that call. So yeah, they got a tough little division. You know, the Falcons hopefully had everybody back this season. We got to see if the Panthers is gonna be good this year, and you got to see if the Bucks, how the Bucks gonna turn out this season.
I have a close second in the Philadelphia Eagles. I think their division actually is probably the easier one in the NFC. You're talking about Dallas without Zeke. You have the Giants have no clue what they're going to end up doing.
Maybe 2 rookie quarterbacks starting mid-season in that division.
That's right. So they had the best road. We talk about what the Patriots were able to do. They were able to do that a lot because they had an easy road throughout the season, and they're not getting beat up and not having guys injured. So that's important. But I think the Saints have just as good a shot as anybody. I love what they're able to do offensively, score the football. That's going to be huge.
What you said about the division, obviously they're in a tough division. I would say that's the case for every division in the NFC except the one you said, the Philadelphia Eagles. Them and Dallas, that's it. And so they do have an advantage over not just the Saints, but every other division winner, because I think all those divisions are going to be very tough and you're going to get beat up. But that said, I do still like the Saints to win the NFC. I think obviously they got incredible motivation, and everybody's motivated, we know that. But they have beat this drum so hard about what happened in the NFC Championship game that they're going to have to come out and back it up. And I think they will. I think they're going to be motivated in that way. I think the loss of Ingram, they're going to be out to prove that they can do it without him. He was great for him, but they let him go for a reason. So I think they're going to be out to prove they can do it without him. My question is, Drew Brees, was what we saw in the second half of last season when he fell off, was that just, some
aberration?
Right, an aberration.
Yeah, like, he's 40. It's like, is he declining or he gonna be okay? In that second half, he went a little quiet. Like, you can show the signs of the age catching up with him. But I feel like he's still gonna handle his business. I feel like he's gonna get him over that hump. With Dallas and the Eagles and Giants and who else in that division? it's just like that division ain't that hard. Like anyone can win it. Anybody can go 9-7 in that division and make the playoffs and win the division. It's really easy in that division for real. Like I feel like who gonna win that? I feel like the Eagles gonna have a chance of winning that division this year. Cause I feel like the Giants still gonna have, they still trying to figure out things like up there in New York. And they gotta see how Eli gonna go this season. Cause he ain't haven't been good the last 4 years. And I wanna see how it's gonna go, cause he declined himself. Like people ain't really talking about that, but he really ain't been doing too much. It's about that time to put somebody else in that offense. But man, Drew Brees, he just like Brady, man. It's just like he's smart, and that's how he gonna get the job done by just using his quarterback IQ.
Or was that who he is now? Because he will be 41 years old in January.
One of the things, and I look back at Drew Brees' season. Obviously, last year they started without Mark Ingram. Big time loss for them because now they're not running the ball as much. The first 3 games, Drew Brees averaged 42 pass attempts per game. That's way too much for an older quarterback. You have to get a running game established. Let Alvin Kamara run the ball a little bit more. Let the running game dictate how you go offensively. And then allow Drew Brees to be the quarterback that he's always been, consistent. He's going to be a great leader. He's going to be accurate. He's going to get that team up and down the football field. That doesn't change this season.
The Eagles aren't my pick, but I do think the Eagles are going to have the second best record in the conference. And one thing to add to your guys' point about their division, the ease of it, if you will, is also the NFC East had a good draw this year, in that this year their cross-conference matchup is the AFC East, which is almost assuredly the worst division in football. You got the Patriots, and then 3 teams have been trying to catch the Patriots for 20 years. So you're talking about, if you're the Eagles, you got 4 games against the Giants and against Washington, and then another 3 against Jets, Dolphins, and Bills. And so you'd much rather draw this year in the AFC the East than the AFC North, which I think we think is potentially a 3 playoff team division. So that's just good luck. It's 1 in 4 years. That's what they got. But my pick is not the Saints. And it's mostly because of what you alluded to, which is, who is Drew Brees going to be this year? John Elway and Joe Montana, 2 of the 5 greatest quarterbacks ever, retired at age 38. Dan Marino's last good year was age 38. Peyton's last good year was age 30 or 39. Brett Favre's that's the year when they hit the wall. Last good year or the year before. Brett Favre hit the wall at 41. Brees, we did see 2 different seasons from him. The first dozen games and then the end of the year. Even the playoff games. 2 short fields against the Rams that resulted in just 3 points. They had the ball in overtime. And that drive ended on a Drew Brees interception. I don't think the Saints have a good enough defense to be a dominant team without a dominant Drew Brees. So
Yeah, that's the main reason too. They got to put up a lot of points. Because Saints defense is okay, but it's not like a defense that could stop everybody. And that's why the Saints offense, they have to put up a lot of points mostly all the time. Because if you ain't got a good defense, you're going to have to put up some points to win your games. Because your defense can't stop nobody, you can't go far in the playoffs. But as long as you got a high-power offense, you most likely could get deep in the playoffs.
Go with the guy over my left shoulder, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I do believe Rodgers is the most talented quarterback in NFL history. I think Rodgers, used the Shaq example, who's best at their best is best of everybody. In the whole history of the league, I'd take Rodgers. Man, that can't be true, and him miss the playoffs 3 straight years while he's still, it might be the end of it, but still in the prime of his career. You talked about chip on his shoulder. Roger got chip on his shoulder now. The coach is gone. They spent money in free agency. Those young wide receivers that he was a little annoyed with last year are not quite so young. There's a lot of reasons to believe that Rodgers, if he can be healthy, can be back to league MVP Aaron Rodgers, but it's a similar problem they have that the Saints have, which is 2 other viable contenders within their own.
The problem with the Packers is defense. do they have a good defense this year? It seems like Rodgers have to carry that team. Because Packers ain't had a defense since they Super Bowl run. And it's going to be tough coming out of their division because Chicago still got a good defense up there. The Bears have an okay offense. And their defense is good with Khalil Mack and Floyd and Hicks. They still have a good defense up there to dominate. They probably could do it again. They probably can win the division this year again. Hey, as long as they got that intact, they still could possibly win it. Because Cousins got to prove with the Vikings. Like, he had a good year last year, but that wasn't good enough. And they get him to the playoffs. And, yeah, Minnesota's got to prove, man.
Vision in the Bears and the Vikings. Like, both those teams have legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. But I think the Packers can pile up enough wins to have home field go through Lambeau for the first time in forever. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have the best year he's had in 5 years.
You're right about that division. The Vikings, Bears, two of the best defenses that we have in the league. The big question, I think, for the Saints is almost the same question for the Packers. Will their defense step up and play? We already know that their quarterbacks will get it done. I think your question about Drew Brees, early on, they put way too much on his plate early on last season, and it affected him towards the latter part of the season.
You think that's what it was? He obviously looked great.
No, he looked totally different. Yeah, and I just think that they put way too much on him early on. And I think Sean Payton, who is a very good coach, they'll take some of that off early on and allow the running game to lead this football team early on, which will allow Drew Brees to be healthier and more viable towards the latter part of the season. But listen, the Packers are going to be good. The big question about them is, will Matt LaFleur, will Aaron Rodgers, will they mix? But also, will they get Aaron Jones going? Right. Will they get that running game going? Will they put that team in a position where in November, in December, when it's cold and rainy, they can run the football? That starts in September. That starts in August in the off season, and that has to get done for that Green Bay team.
Are you really worried about the relationship at this point with Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, or has that been kind of the trendy thing to worry about with that team? Yes, it's a new head coach. It's a new offense. It's a much improved defense, at least for the most part. They actually spent some money in free agency, which they haven't in a while. That relationship is the biggest question for that team?
I don't think it's the biggest question. To me, the biggest question is how will the run game affect that offense? But I think that it is a question, and everything looks good. Everything looks good in the offseason until it's game 5 and you guys have lost 2 games in a row. Now, who you put the blame on, the coach or the quarterback? Those are the 2 biggest shoulders to put the blame on. Now, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm saying, hey, it's not me, and I'm sure the coach is going to be saying the same thing. That's where you could run into some trouble in Green Bay.
One quick note for the Saints, who 2 years ago started out 0-2, then went on a great run. Last year, lost the first game to Tampa, and then needed overtime to beat Cleveland when Cleveland wasn't good yet, and then went on their great run. This year, they are the only team in football to start the season with 4 consecutive games against playoff teams from last year. Houston, at the Rams, at Seattle, home for Dallas. Even if you think some of those teams are equipped to take a step backwards, they cannot get off to the slow start that they've gotten off to last couple of seasons.
That loss, the opening loss, that was Fitzpatrick's big game, right? Guess who was just named starter coming into this year?
Fitzmagic.
Fitzmagic.
He'll be great for about a month.
No doubt.
Sorry. Brian, we'll see you later on the show. Coming up, will the Patriots cruise to their 11th straight AFC East title? Probably. That's next.